I'm Charlene Gross, Assistant Professor of Costume Design at Penn State School of Theater. In this lesson, we will explore scene by applying just the 5 basic elements of design: line, shape, mass, texture, and color. Let's examine these elements of design by using a seemingly innocuous group of objects: mandarin oranges. By taking time to truly look at each orange as an individual object, we can then truly see that object. Let's begin. The elements of design help you see nuance. The ability to truly see nuance, in turn, helps an artist craft a more real, tangible, and honest product. This can be taught using any group of seemingly similar items, like these mandarin oranges. Why oranges? Because we think we all know oranges. We come with preconceived notions of what they are. We have a visual and design bias. We think an orange is round, of a certain size, and that's it. But every object, when examined with the elements of design in mind, become more complex and individualized. Seeing differences of objects and verbalizing it through the elements of design is key to any maker, making a better and more complex product. In the past, I've explained the elements of design starting with a point. If you start with a point and that point takes a walk, it becomes a line. Line is one of the most basic elements of design. Lines can be all different shapes, sizes, colors, texture, thicknesses, and uniformity. Line also has a direction. It can help you direct an eye to a specific place. Different types of line convey different moods, feelings. A simple line carries so much. For example, if we look at this one and we look at the direction of these lines pointing towards the center where the orange was picked, it's giving us a focal point. So our point goes for a walk. It turns a corner. And once that corner comes back to itself, that becomes a shape. The shape of the orange is obviously a circle. Well, actually, it's a sphere, and both are geometric shapes, and the orange, while geometric and is also organic. It's not perfect. It comes from nature. That's the beauty of it. They're all different. It's part of the uniqueness. They're uneven edges, and while the edge is defined with a line, it's not an exact geometric sphere. It's hard to talk about a three-dimensional object using a two-dimensional term like shape. So if I go back to talking about that line that went for a walk, and it's a slow curve until it comes back to itself and becomes a shape. If that 2D shape becomes a three-dimensional, like this orange, that shape takes up space or mass. And mass is the element of design that can be tangibly measured. So look at these two. We have 2 different oranges. And if we look at them, we're going to look at the height, the width, the depth, and we go back to those geometric qualities of the mandarin oranges. So we can define it also by its radius or diameter, and we can also look at it and how much weight does it take up. What's the difference between A and B? So shape, we're looking at things like where does the shadow fall? Where does the light hit? When we're talking about mass, how much room does it take up? What does it weigh? How wide is it? Right? How tall is it? And we're looking at round or rotund versus elongated. So we're talking about point, line, shape, mass. Let's say that line hits a couple of bumps on its walk, and suddenly that's going to show us texture. What and how does the orange feel? What's the tactile nature of the texture? How does it look like it's going to feel? What's the visual nature of the orange, and how would you represent that texture if you were to draw a 2D version of this orange? For instance, at a distance, the orange looks smooth, shiny, firm. Up close, the orange is bumpy, irregular on its skin, has an oil or film on the skin, and there are divots and blemishes. They're all individual qualities that make up one particular orange. Now, color, which seems like it would be obvious element, right? Nothing is immediate when we're really looking, really see the orange. So let's look at the hue, or the name of the color at its purest form. An orange is an orange. But what is the value or values of that color? How saturated is that color? Value refers to the degree of lightness or the tint, or the darkness or the shade of specific hue. What shade, tint, or tones do you see in the orange? Which part of the orange contains a darker shade of orange, a lighter tint of the orange, or even a middle ground, that tone. What is this piece of fruit? Well, the color of an orange is saturate for sure, right? It's very orange. There'll always be parts that are less so, especially when compared to other oranges. So what other colors do you see within and around the object? Take note of those as well. The green, the yellows, the other colors that create a more complex story. We may have come to this lesson with a preconceived notion of what an orange looks like. Now we have taken time to truly see each orange as an individual object. Take this lesson and apply it to other things. We all have visual and design biases, and it's not just with oranges. But without looking, you cannot see an object for itself, and you can't recreate that object, whatever your art form is. Oranges, who knew? Besides, they're easy to come by and delicious to eat once we're done.